Hey everyone, I am Amanda from Mandy, Lynn Plans. Welcome back to another A5 Planner Showdown video. Today we are taking a look at the A5 plans by Just Scribble. There is a vertical and a horizontal that we're going to peek at, and also the A5 Take a Note planner. Starting off, you can see the Take a Note here. I actually have a clear cover on it. It has this green kind of cardboard-like cover, and the plans by Just Scribble has a soft, flexible cover on it. In the Take a Note, there's also this green cardboard on the inside. First page, you can see it says 2025 regular. Flipping to the yearly page, in the Take a Note, they give you the last 4 months of 2024, the current year 2025, and the upcoming 4 months of 2026, all on the left side of the page here. So depending on when you use your planner, you might get your planner towards the end of the year, so you still have a little bit of at a glance the whole entire year, and then a little bit of the upcoming, which is always helpful. Then on the right side of the page, it's a little bit of a yearly tracker page. If there's a couple of things that you would like to track, you can check them off as you do them. So comparing this now with the plans by Just Scribble, nice and big 2025. There is no 2024 looking back. It's only the whole page of 2025. And then on the right side of the page here in the plans by Just Scribble, you have the first 4 months of 2026, which is similar to what you have down at the bottom here of the Take a Note. There are lines for you to be able to put upcoming appointments or things as they pop up. Both of these planners are a Monday start, so all of the calendars here that you see are Monday start, as well as the rest of the planners as well. So flipping in the Take a Note planner, here we come to a page that has 1 quarter per sheet, January, February, March. There is a date and a day of the week abbreviation, and then a nice big blank grid at the bottom. You do have all 12 months of the year. And here in the plans by Just Scribble, a very similar layout. This is the book 2. I forgot to mention earlier that it is a 2-book system for the plans by Just Scribble. The Take a Note is the whole year in 1 book. Here I have the second volume of the plans by Just Scribble. So this is the volume with July to December in it. So here you have the 6 months of the planner. In the first book, you would have January to June of these pages. It's a very similar layout. You have 3 months per page. And the plans by Just Scribble, you can maybe tell it's hard to tell maybe on camera, but the grid in the plans by Just Scribble is larger. The Take a Note has a very small grid, and so less space at the bottom in the plans by Just Scribble, but more writing page on each day. Also, the plans by Just Scribble only includes the date and not the day abbreviation. They are shaded, however, so that you can figure out where the weekends are and figure out where the Tuesday or Thursdays are. In the Take a Note, the weekends are not shaded, but they are a different color. They are like a maroon rust color, and that is consistent throughout the book as well. Flipping in the plans by Just Scribble, we have a lot of tracking pages and goal setting pages that are not included in the Take a Note. So I wanted to go ahead and show you those. Some for the whole year, some for the quarterly. So here are the quarter 3 tracker pages. You have a monthly tracker for July, August, and September, and also a quarterly tracking page where you can see all 3 months of the quarter and be able to goal set or have a nice big long to-do list for the whole quarter. And then you flip and you get your July pages. So here we have a page similar to the goal pages that we saw before, just for the month of July, before we flip and get to our first monthly spread. And the Take a Note planner, after these yearly index pages, you turn right into a monthly. They do give you December of the previous year, so you have an extra monthly here at the beginning. Here you can see that shading that I was talking about. So the Monday through Friday is a nice green color, and then the weekend is this rust color. Very small grids. You have a nice big sidebar, a little spot at the bottom, an extra little sidebar along the right edge, and then kind of a border at the top if you wanted to do some pretty hand lettering or something that said December, or of course if you wanted to use a sticker. Compare that now with the plans by Just Scribble. You can see the squares for each day are much larger. There is a sidebar, but not as much of the page is sidebar as in the Take a Note. And here at the bottom, you can see December was one of those months where it eats into the bottom real estate of the planner. So both the Take a Note and Plans by Just Scribble have this bottom space so that whenever you need an extra box down at the bottom, you don't have to slash one of these boxes to create enough room for the last days of the month. That is a very important feature for me in a planner, so both of these do that well. In the Take a Note, like a lot of the other planners that we have taken a look at in this A5 Planner Showdown, all of the monthlies are at the beginning, so you keep flipping for all of your monthlies before you turn after March. You finally get into the weekly pages. In the Plans by Just Scribble, everything is incorporated. So after the month, you turn and you have a blank page where you can do some monthly vision board if you want, and then you flip and you get your week 1 pages. So this is where we're going to start comparing. Now there's a lot of similarities, but then some very big differences between these planners as well. The first biggest similarity is this horizontal layout on the left side of the page. Here I do have the horizontal version of the Plans by Just Scribble. I will also show you the vertical so that you can see how those compare as well. In the Take a Note, there is a big January 25, a little calendar with the week circled, and then you have a little spot for each day of the week horizontally. In the Plans by Just Scribble, you have the full height of the page divided into 7 days. They both run half of the page. In the Plans by Just Scribble, this is all grid, so if you wanted to extend these lines out, you could. If you don't need that, then you can leave it as is, of course. And on the right side here for the Plans by Just Scribble, the horizontal weekly option, you have the focus priorities, a nice grid section, and then some tracking pages at the bottom. There's also a spot here for a to-do list or maybe a grocery list. In the Take a Note planner, they have each 2-page spread divided up into 4 columns. So you have your horizontal weekly, then you have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. You flip and you get Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Again, that shading is consistent, so we have a deep green and then the rest color. For each day of the week, they give you the moon phase, the date, a timeline from 6 to 3 with some extra dots as well. If you needed to write in 5 or 4, you could do that. The noon hour is shaded. This planner to me feels like it's geared toward maybe using it as a work planner. Of course you could use it for whatever you need, but just the way it's laid out with the weekends being shaded differently and having the lunch hour shaded as well, it feels a little more work planner to me. So again, you have your whole week spread over 4 pages, and then you flip into the next week where it is again spread over 4 pages, and the rest of this is your weekly pages. And at the very back, you have just a few grid pages. These pages have an interesting grid on them. The whole page is grid. Every 5 grids has a solid line instead of a dashed line. And then there are dots to where you can divide up. So there's a middle dot if you needed to divide it up into quarters. There are 2 dots here if you needed to divide it up into thirds. So you can make some really interesting layouts with this. There are only 4 or 5. Okay, it looks like 4 of these grid pages in the back. And I forgot to mention that these pages are numbered as well. So if you needed to use these back ones as an index, you could of course do that as well. Now we can compare the vertical weekly spread in the Plans by Just Scribble. You might be able to tell that the Take a Note is almost a hybrid of both the horizontal and the vertical option in one planner. If you like to see your week horizontally, but then you need a vertical also, but not a whole page per day, this might be the planner for you if you don't need to see your entire week in just a 2-page spread. Here you can see in the vertical we have a timeline running from 5 a.m. to 2 a.m. So it is not military time in the Plans by Just Scribble. There is a nice sidebar, a very minimal layout here, no shading, no moon phases, no holidays printed. And then after the weekly, you flip and you get into your daily pages. Both the horizontal and vertical options of the Plans by Just Scribble have daily pages in the same format order, but the daily pages themselves are slightly different. So in the horizontal weekly option, the one where you have the horizontal weekly and then a spot for focus and priorities, on these daily pages you do have a running timeline because you don't have that since you don't have the vertical weekly. But in the vertical weekly, since you do have a running timeline on the side, your daily pages do not have an additional timeline. They are only blank grid except for a shaded box in the middle so that you can divide your pages similar to how those Take a Note ones were in the back. You have the day of the week and the date. So there are not any daily pages in the Take a Note, which means that it comes out to be a pretty thin book considering that it has the entire year of monthly and weekly spreads. This is the width of just one of the 2 books for the year for plans by Just Scribble. I really like that they're divided up into 6 months. Personally, I like carrying a smaller book around with me, but I do understand that some like to use one book for the entire year. So there you have it, the plans by Just Scribble versus the A5 Take a Note. Please let me know what you think of these planners down in the comments, and as always, thank you so much for watching. Until next time.